How did you get in my house? Just kidding, I'm very happy you're here. Welcome to this video. I'm going to show you finally how to play Moon Underwater by Puma. The song was requested by all these people, thank you all so much for your comments. So I'm going to show you all the parts of the song. I tried to stick as close to the studio version as possible, which was quite difficult because every time they play the song live, they play some chords just a tad bit different, but I think I got it alright. It's quite a tricky one, but I'm sure we'll get the hang of it because I will first play the whole song and then I will explain all the more difficult parts in a lot more detail, so don't forget to check that out as well if you're having trouble. Also, if you want to show some appreciation, you could buy some merch, maybe. Just saying, just kidding, unless, you know, I wouldn't mind, but no, it would mean a lot to me. As well as if you post a picture of yourself with the cool new merch, you'll get a shout out in the next video, which is exciting. Let's get into the song. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, there you can sometimes vote which song I do next. And also, don't forget to suggest a new song in the comments as well. And also a huge thank you to Dustin for donating to my PayPal. Now we can get into the song and I hope everything will be clear. So the song is just in standard tuning, you don't have to use a capo or anything like that, so we can go directly into the song. So as you could see, that's how to play the song. It has some quite tricky parts in it. I will go through the tricky parts. I will really go through the full song now. So we'll start off with the intro, which is like this. First chord, nothing too weird. This is really the easiest way to play these chords. And then these two as well, maybe a bit tricky, but you have to really play only the four, the E, A, D and G strings to get this bassy sound. That's really that, only single strums, nothing too weird. But then you have this more intense part, you could say, that goes like this. And I tend to also do these muted strings, muted hits in between, basically because I don't have a drummer with me now that can add some rhythm to it, so that's why I'm doing that as well, but you're free to do that if you like. But yeah, it sounds nicer if you do upstrokes at this part, so like that. Now this chord might be a bit tricky, the G sharp minor 7, because you, especially when you're only playing these three strings, you might have some trouble with muting the bottom one and the upper ones. To mute the bottom string using this chord, you basically have to try to rest your index finger on the bottom string so that you hear this sound. You could as well play the chord like this. That works as well. And even you can also play the chord like this, or like this, or like this, or like this. Lots of ways. But what's most important really, that or something to think about, is that the guitarist of Puma Blue, or the lead singer as well, they don't play, or he doesn't play the bass notes in a lot of these chords. So as well with the G sharp minor 7, he just does or you know, you can add the bottom string as well, but then you have to stretch your index finger, or you can add this finger as well. It's all at G sharp minor 7. However, he doesn't play the bass note a lot of times, and the reason for that, this is something you will find a lot in jazz music, or which could be a reason for that, is that by not playing the bass note, you could say, in some of these chords, you're leaving more space for the bass player to play his bass notes, you could say. You will find this in jazz a lot, that the guitarist doesn't play the bass notes of every chord, or the lowest sounding ones on the E string, for example, because in that way you leave more space for the bass player, or it might sound nice. It's just a subjective thing, of course, but it's something that Puma Blue does as well a lot. So, but for example, when you're playing by yourself, when you're doing a cover, it might be nice to add in the bass as well, because then you might not have a bass player with you playing bass notes. So then you might add this thumb to the G sharp minor 7 as well. So that's something to think about. But yeah, that's the intro. And he also plays this chord, which might be a bit tricky, because you have to stretch your index finger like this. You could as well play it like this. I think he does it like this sometimes. You're free to do whatever you want, but it's the same sound, just a different finger positioning. So like this, or like this. So like that. Again, free to do whatever you want, as always. And then the song really starts with the main riff, you could call it, which is this. And this main riff goes like this. We'll call it the main riff. I'm not sure if you could call it that, but we'll call it the main riff for now. So you basically hit the strings, then hammer on your pinky, and then do an upstroke. So downstroke, hammer on, upstroke. And using your pinky might be a bit difficult. You could as well use your ring finger. But yeah, I really, if you can, try to use your pinky. Try to learn using your pinky, because it's just a lot easier as well with changing chords and stuff like that. So and as well, what's important, what I forgot to mention in the other chords as well, is that with a lot of these chords, especially the quick ones, like he tends to play it staccato, I think is the right word, which means that he doesn't let the notes ring true. As well with he almost puts an immediate stop to it after he played the chord. So like that, you can hear this, or And to do this, there's a couple of ways to really silence a chord, you could say, after playing it. First one is very easy, it's by resting your left hand. So now I'm putting my fingers on the fretboard and now I'm losing them. I'm relaxing them on them. So you see, you can see my fingers really move away from the fretboard a bit. So instead of pushing them down, you let them relax on the fretboard, and in that way you silence the chord. Another way, or which you could do at the same time, is placing your hand on the strings, placing your right hand on the strings like this. So you're playing the chord and then immediately you put your palm on the strings like this. What might sound best is doing them both. So then you're really very sure that you're silencing the strings. So try to do that just with one chord, play a chord and then relax your fingers. Or place your right hand on there. He does that a lot in this song, so that's nice to think about. But let's get back to the main riff. It goes like, as I just said, downstroke, hammer on, upstroke. And that repeats itself for a couple of times. There's also a second guitar playing at that part, which I will show you now. As you can see, that guitar is basically doing almost the exact same melody, only adding something extra to it. And yeah, this part is really basically the same as doing it like this, only you're doing it over here and adding some extra notes to it. It might be sounding nice to... It might be nice to add a bit of vibrato to the note on the 11th fret. So yeah, after this part, it goes to the chorus, you could call it, which is... And again, you might notice that these G sharp minor 7 and A minor 7, you can do it like this or as well as this. You can play around with those minor 7 chords. I don't think it's too difficult, this part. The strumming pattern goes like this. So. And I do this muted hit, and you do that the same way as muting the chord, really just relaxing your left hand on the strings and hitting the strings, and at the same time placing your palm on the strings like this. So just downstrokes there, and at this chord, at the G sharp minor 7, you can add in some strums as well, like. You can just play around with it, but I do this strumming pattern. So. Then you have the main riff again, you could call it, which, yeah, in the song. Then you have this main riff again. Then again you have this chorus part. And then there's something new, which is this part. Which might be a bit tricky, it's quite a difficult chord. I do think this is the best way to play it. And what's really important with the strumming is that you don't strum too loud. It's almost like it's whispering a bit, you could say. So you have to really strum very softly, so. And just up and down strokes like this. And this chord might be quite tricky with stretching your pinky like that. I think this is really the best way to play it. However, live I see him sometimes do this. Instead of using this chord, he plays, which is something you can do as well, which really shows as well how talented they are, because he just sometimes seems to choose a chord on the spot that might sound nice, because this of course is a different chord than this, but it still sounds very nice in the song. It fits very well. He has a very, I think, a great feel on which chords he can play around and change up and stuff like that. So try to do that as well if you like. Try to add some notes to some chords, or try to play a different note for a certain chord. However, after this part you have might be a bit tricky. It's this D minor 9 is a very nice chord, and then the strumming pattern for this is and going from this chord is also played in quite a staccato way, you could say, but you basically do that by switching the chords. That really makes it that the chords don't sound true. You just switch them quickly. So yeah, that's how to play that. Then in a certain moment he goes and going from this chord to this one is actually quite easy, because you only have to move your middle finger, as you can see, and slide upwards, but my pinky and ring finger and index finger don't leave the fretboard, as you can see, because they are already in the on the right snare, just not at the right position. So you have to do very little effort to change between those chords. And then these chords really repeat themselves again, but only he plays them very slowly. You can play around with that. It's just really single strums, as you can hear. And then he goes back to the chorus, which is and this played a bit more aggressive, you could say, a lot more strums going on. So like that. And at a certain moment it even goes and this might be a bit tricky with stretching your index finger like this. I get that, but you will get the hang of it. You could as well, if it really isn't working, try it with your pinky. So which might be tricky as well. You could also just only play in the G and the B string, so in that way you don't have to stretch your pinky. It sounds nice as well, but it isn't as complete as you could also try it like this, and that way you leave the D string out, but really try to play all the strings like that. And then it repeats itself to this again, to the chorus chords. So that's really how to play the song. I understand that the song might be quite tricky. Yeah, as I said, you can leave some parts out or some ways to play some chords. You can make the song easier for yourself by playing the chords in a way that fits you nice. But I do suggest, however, that once you found a way that's nice for you, try to do it as well. Try to step by step make it a bit more difficult for yourself by trying a different finger positioning. And also try to, which is quite difficult and I understand it, but you can try to add some notes in the chords. For example, this hammering on this 6th fret of the E string on the G sharp minor 7 works a lot of times. Also, when he doesn't do it, you can also try to. But yeah, I'm very happy to have taught you this song. I hope everything was clear. Don't forget to suggest a new song in the comments and to follow me on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching so far, and I really hope to see you the next time. Thank you so much.